Have you ever been bored in your job? Same. And so was Megan. She was looking for a challenge and stumbled into grant writing. With her executive director's support, she began to wear the hat of an in-house grant writer for a for-profit behavioral health company based in Nashville. And yes, her employer paid for her training. In the last 10 months, without any prior grant writing experience, she has submitted a total of 12 grants and has secured over $6.5 million for behavioral health in the county in which she lives. I cannot wait for you to meet Meagan. Welcome, Meagan. I am so excited that you're here to tell us a little bit about your grant writing story. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thinking back to your life pre-collective, what drew you to the grant writing industry and to the collective in general?
I love that there is opportunity for connection and collaboration, especially with being a newer grant writer. I've been in this less than a year. I was actually able to help form and join an accountability group with some other members of the collective, and it was just very encouraging and helpful. The field of grant writing, as you know, is so vast. So it's very interesting to me to listen to other people's journey and just hear what kind of projects they're working on in their specific area of focus.
You came to us without having grant written before, and yet now you're doing it in-house within your same capacity, right? Or am I mistaken?
Yes.
Why did you want to add the grant writing hat to what you were doing?
I was toying with the idea of going back to get my master's degree. When I get too comfortable in a position and I'm not really learning new things, I kind of just go looking for other opportunities. I was researching that and it just wasn't going to be feasible. And then I actually started volunteering with a local nonprofit, Moms Loving Moms in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. There was a conversation I had and grant writing got brought up. I was like, well, I've never really thought about that. Let me look into that. I went home and Googled and found Meredith's YouTube videos and just binged them and talked to my executive director, who was currently writing all of the grants for our organization. And she pretty much was like, yes, please do the training. Help me with this. It was really encouraging.
That's amazing. So cool. So you get to do it in a volunteer capacity and then as well as a part of your job?
Yes.
What I love about this is we get this reputation, right, for being the place that we disagree with volunteering as a grant writer, which for the most part we stand by, except for in cases when we're being really intentional about it. And so I just want to highlight your intentionality with that of this was a gift that you could provide to that organization in this moment of time, and you consciously made that decision. I think that that's really beautiful.
It's an organization that's very close to my heart.
When you joined, what was your definition of success?
When I started was very much like, okay, if I can obtain X number of funding, then that will be successful. But looking back on it, the most successful thing or thing I'm most proud of is just the confidence level I have now with grant writing. It's still intimidating, don't get me wrong, but I'm definitely proud of the confidence that I have with approaching different grant opportunities now.
You didn't wear the grant writing hat at work yet. You had to broach that conversation with your boss. How did that conversation go?
My executive director is just an amazing woman. And so it was a really easy conversation. She knew I was really open with her about being a little stir crazy, maybe wanting to go back for some additional education, and then learn grant writing to kind of fill that void. And she was extremely supportive and excited for me. That didn't even enter my mind as it being like a difficult conversation or a challenge.
I want to point out how remarkable this is because it is a true mark of an amazing leader who can notice the future visioning with their employee and walk alongside that journey with them. How fun. So there had to have been a challenging moment at some point in this journey. Do you want to talk about a challenging moment?
For me personally has just been writing grants with some outside community partners. There being like mismatch of expectations that come with that. I struggle a little bit with not having total control of a project. So I'm working on this. That is definitely something I have struggled with in the past, just in regards of deadlines. I'm trying to really focus on what is in my control and mind to hold versus what isn't.
It's so important, especially when we're dealing with partners or just plain communication in general, because we can drive ourselves crazy spending time on things that are so out of our control.
Yes, absolutely.
What are you proud of in this journey?
How quickly I have been able to jump in and tackle grant writing. It was something that was really, really intimidating to me in the beginning. And I've had a lot of support through my executive director and the collective, but just the level of confidence I have now versus when I started on this journey is just something that has totally changed and something I'm really proud of.
When we learn something new, we get really excited about it, then we drop down, right? It's called the Valley of
Right.
Despair in our collective.
For
And
sure.
then we do some things and we climb out of that valley. Were there different things that you did to help you become more confident?
Continuing that collaboration piece with people in the collective and talking to them and getting that reassurance from my executive director and my supervisor just to have eyes on my work. And they've really been helpful in guiding me on like specific language we want to use, the goals of our organization, long-term goals and everything.
It makes all the difference when we have a community of support around us.
I'm that type of person that I need that validation because I'm always like, does this sound okay? Is this right? I get really in my head about those things. Having people to lean on and share ideas with, thought partners, it's helpful.
Let's just talk about the external validation of winning 6 million, right? You've won 6 million, 10
Yeah,
months?
like roughly like 6.5.
Just a casual 6.5 million in the first
Yeah.
10 months. If we didn't have the external validation of community, this would be all the external validation that we
Yeah,
need.
I very frequently will refer back to that in my brain when I'm
Mhm.
kind of having that imposter syndrome.
And what an amazing amount of money to bring into your organization to do the
Yeah.
work that they are doing. Will you tell us a little bit about the work that you get to do as an in-house grant writer?
I work for a for-profit behavioral health organization, and the grant that I obtained, being able to see it come to life, it's like a brick and mortar. We secured that funding from the Opioid Abatement Council. So we'll have that $6 million over 3 years for a project called Resilient Roots Family Wellness Center. Is going to house a perinatal intensive outpatient program for mothers who are in recovery or at risk for substance abuse disorder, an IOP for youth ages 8 to 12, therapeutic preschool for children birth to 5 who've been diagnosed with the neonatal abstinence syndrome or removed from their primary home as a result of parental substance abuse. And then it's also going to have a community hub space that will provide just a supportive area for families with a primary parent in recovery. So it's good work.
We have so many programs geared toward the children, and we have so
Mhm.
many programs geared toward the parents, but very few that I think follow that line where you get to
Mhm.
provide holistic support. And you just
For
described a
sure.
model that can impact all of the elements of a family unit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's extra sweet because it's pretty much in my backyard. It's really cool.
Not only did you just like get thrown into grant writing, you got thrown into like one of the deeper ends of grant writing.
Sure.
What is intimidating about this capital campaign? Talk to us a little bit about what that looks like funding wise and grant writing wise.
The last couple months, I've applied for one federal grant, which was very scary. And then I'm working on another federal grant application, and they are just really intimidating.
They are beasts, yes. One tip that we love to give people who are grant writers who are just doing their first or their second federal grant is to hire an advisor. Using someone who's applied to a similar grant before as your advisor, game changing. Let's end with some rapid fire questions. What is
Yeah.
one word to describe your dream lifestyle?
Slow.
What is your next vacation spot?
The mountains in southeastern Tennessee.
Favorite podcast?
I'm not a podcast person.
Do you have a Spotify album or like an artist that is your go-to?
I just kind of listen to everything country and alternative pop punk.
What are you reading right now?
A happy place.
Last TV show you binged?
I cannot remember the last TV show I binged, but I watch The Office or Friends every night before bed. That's like my comfort shows to fall asleep to.
I love Abbott Elementary because it's kind of like The Office, but in an elementary school setting. It's so good.
Oh, I'll have to watch that.
And what is your superpower?
Multitasking.
And they thought multitasking was dead. Megan's going to show them that it is not. There are other people out there who are sitting in a career that maybe doesn't fulfill them or they see this other potential. What advice do you have for them as they go through and try to pivot their career, whether it's within an in-house capacity or potentially changing things up completely?
It's always going to be scary. I don't think it's never not going to be when you first start. I think starting is the hardest part. But if you just have a little bit of confidence in yourself, that goes such a long way. I would just say be confident in yourself. You can do hard things.
Well, thank you so much, Megan. I am blessed that you are in the collective, even more blessed that you are writing these fantastic grants for 2 organizations that get to have more impact in their communities because of the work that you were brave enough to say, hey, I want to do this. So thank you so much.
Thank you.